What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers, and welcome back to another Shadowverse Evolve video. So, as promised, I told you guys on Thursday that I was going to be making a deck list for the Uma deck, and this is what it's going to look like. It's a little template. I know you probably see a little difference of some things, missing the Daiwa Scarlet, but this is my buddy John's build, and he took it to our Shadowverse Showdown this past weekend. He did pretty well, and I feel like this is a pretty good version if you don't have Daiwa, or, you just no Agnes, no Daiwa, not many Runecraft stuff with in terms of legendaries. So this is what you can get, and you can get some pretty good results with just this alone, because everything, really synergizes with everything else. So let's go ahead and get into the deck. So the first card we're going to be looking at is Shinko Wendy. So Shinko Wendy isn't really too much of a big card. It's just a 1-drop, just so you can have some early pressure, or you can just match someone's followers. But, her fanfare ability is to look at the top card of your deck, and you can put it to the bottom of your deck if you want to, or just leave it there. If it's a useful card, then, keep it there. If not, oh well. The next one we have is Flowers for You. You select an Uma follower on your field, give a +1 attack, and then draw a card. If you selected a Swing Sky, you give a +1/+1, an extra. So with Swing Sky, it has Strike, and then, she gets a +1 on Strike, so she'll definitely be a 4 defense, which will make her very, very harder to remove, and she'll have more attack. So that's nice. We have the Lamplet Training of a Witch to Be. It's a pretty nice quick spell, just good removal. In terms, I think this is probably the new Angelic Snipe for Runecraft and for Uma. And we have the 1-of Trial Initiation. Remember, guys, that this card is limited to 1 in the Uma deck because it's just so good, along with the other Havencraft follower. We have 2 Narita Bryans. She's just a 2-drop with Rush with the card Winning Ticket. If she's in the cemetery, then she gets that plus effect, so we're going to run 2 of her just so we can have her. We have the 3-of Special Week. Special Week's too good. It's very good, especially when you go and get that second turn. You're like, all right, what do I need to do? Play Special Week, look at the top of my deck. Look at that. Everything in my deck is I can get and put into my hand, so it works fine. And we rock that as a 3-of. And then we have the Eat Fast, Yum Fast. So this card really generates well with Daiwa Scarlet. So we're gonna rock 2 of her, even though we don't have Daiwa Scarlet, because she's still a good card. And then we have some Make Some Noise. We can't run Surefire Bullet, so guess what Uma does? We have our own Surefire Bullet, and this is really what it is. Just make sure you have that Uma to get that full 4 damage. Then we have Outrunning the Enroaching Heat. Excuse me. You select the follower in the field, give it Storm, and if it's a Uma follower, give a +1/+1. This really helps with our Vodka. You play Vodka and she gets that Rush and that +1/+1, and then she'll get the extra +1/+1, and then she'll have Storm. So she'll be a 5/5, and she'll be very, very scary. And then we have the Econodictus, the other limited card that we have in this deck. It's pretty good. It's 3-drop ward. Look at top 3. A Uma follower or amulet, you just go ahead and pick it up. Pretty nice. Swing Sky, we already talked about her, but she's still very good that we can rock as a 3-of. Vodka, so we love this card. It's very, very good. Now, how you want to run it is up to you, because you can rock it as a 3-of because it's so good. It's pretty good pressure, and like the way that you play it with the outrunning the Orochi Heat, it kind of feels like a Runeblade summoner. So you don't really have many followers with just Storm outright and then getting that huge buff like that, turning into a 5/5 like that. So it's between 2 and 3 if you want to run it that way. And then we have Winning Ticket. This is a pretty good card. The Narita Taishin works, and then the Trial Initiation. You definitely want those in the cemetery. And in those early turns, you're probably gonna crack Trial Initiation within the first 2 turns. So that's pretty good too. And then Narita Bryan, you can pitch just like, you don't have to keep her in your hands. So, but we're gonna run her as a 1-of just because she's super specific to gain all those extra abilities. We run the 3-of Silent Suzuka. Just the Storm effect is pretty good, and how the deck's really just crafted is, hey, we can use Vodka, get some good pressure in with Rush, or I can use the Enroaching Heat to swing with the Storm, and the next turn I can threaten with Silent Suzuka, and then the Evo to use removal. And, on top of that, there is some extra removal with my solo drawn to Raindrop Drums. It's a quick, and it's basically a quick execution, but, it's cheaper in this deck. You can definitely spend it for 2 if you've been going through your Umas and whatnot. So we definitely run that as a 3-0 just in case, there's threats and we have on turn removal. Next up, we have Takayateo, the residential storm and, removal follower. So when she comes into play, you select the enemy following field and deal it X damage. X equals 2 times the number of followers on your field, including this one. So if you're doing 1, you do 2, you have 2, you're doing 4, and then 3, 6, and then 4, 8, and then 5, 10. So that's pretty good. Just in on-hit removal, just for those pesky cards and wards that we don't like. And then we have the big finisher or Guri Cap. So, your entire Evo deck is going to be carrots. So you don't have to worry about having flex spots for carrots and whatnot. But the whole thing is she becomes a huge finisher. Like on that turn 9, if you want to close it out, you can definitely turn it into a huge boss monster, pitch those 2 cards, and then, on her strike, deal 3 to everything on the field. She'll be she's usually your finisher. Like, either Orguri Cap or your other small storm followers that you give will definitely do the pressure, and then Orguri Cap will usually close it off. Now, a little bit of the extra cards that we have are the Riko Kamishito. So she's a nice 6-drop. She has rush and then strike. If you have no other followers on the field, you select the enemy follower on the field and destroy it, and then deal 3 damage to its leader. That's pretty good in those later turns where you're going up against a control deck and they're controlling your entire board. You're like, all right, well, here's what's going to happen. You're going to play your big boss monster. It has that summoning sickness. Next turn, I'm going to crack back and kill it and deal 3 to you. And if you don't have a plan after that, then good luck, because I can, use more of my resources with the next card we're going to talk about. And that is, Tazuna Hakao. Excuse me if I can't say these last names. I have not seen Uma yet, guys, so give me a break. But she's a 6-drop ward, and then when she comes into play, you select the Uma follower or Uma amulet that costs 4 play points or less in your cemetery and put it onto your field. So the go-to target for this is usually Daiwa, because you get Daiwa out of your cemetery and then you play Daiwa and then you get the spell, and that first spell costs 1 less, and that being the lamplit training, that's pretty nice. So that's usually the go-to target. But this is still a pretty solid deck all in all, because it focuses on the storm followers and then beefing up your followers with the other Evo cards. Speaking of Evo cards, let's go ahead and get into it. We have the One of Special Week. She gives your entire field +1/+1, which, if you're in Overflow, that's still nice too, to go in for those big turns. Then you have the Silent Suzuka, just for the extra on removal. Still has Storm. And then we have Takayateo as a 2-of for the Storm. And then we're rocking 5 carrots. So all in all, I think Uma is very, very strong. I like where it's going. As far as support, I don't think it's happening, but I think that, the one thing about this is it's going to be, it's fresh. I love it. And it's going to be as strong as this set. That's really what it feels like to me. And I feel like I might be talking a little crazy here, but it's very, very strong. I think this deck will definitely top the next event that'll happen. It just has all the things that you want it to do. It has the buffing, hey, I'm going to search the top deck for a follower. Well, not even just a follower. You can search for any Uma card that you want, just from this or the E-Fast, Yum-Fast, or, however you say the name. It's just this deck can do a little bit of everything. The weaker sides of it is, you are kind of like draw dependent on, hey, I do get to look at the top 2, and I'm just gonna have to work with the Uma that's on top 2. And even though I can search for certain Storm followers, not all Storm followers, Storm doesn't fix certain situations, like Haven removing everything and then they drop Heavenly Aegis, and there's nothing this deck can, in my mind, can do against that Heavenly Aegis turn besides dropping the Rico and then attempting, which is fine, because yeah, you can't select Destroyer, but it does do 6 damage, so that's something. Alright guys, well, I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I made the deck. I tried my best. John definitely has done some results. He's definitely doing some work down here on the East Coast with these Uma followers. We can definitely craft it and make it a little bit stronger. This isn't as strong as it could be. This is just like a own kind of his own spicy version of it, and I like it too much with the limited cards that it has. But alright guys, make sure you're safe in whatever you're doing tonight, and safe whatever you're doing for the rest of the year. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
I gave you all my love, baby, my heart is cold when you're around. You warm it up, liquid gold, baby, yeah, you warm it up, liquid gold, baby, and my affection, all that paper you wasted. Take my love.